Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. If you have any questions regarding this video or any other video that I have posted in the past, please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com. And if you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Several weeks ago, I was at a Chinese Asian supermarket, which is located in Aurora, in a suburb of Chicago. I was overwhelmed by all the noodles that they have. I would love to try them all, and the amount of noodles they have is absolutely overwhelming. Not only they have different kinds, but they also have many different brands as well. Now, this is only a small portion of what they have. In fact, they have about 3 or 4 more aisles just like this. I finally pick up something that I like. Actually, I have had these noodles before. This is a noodle that is a thick noodle, and it is referred to as a knife-cut noodles. Apparently, they cut the noodles by knife. This noodle reminds me very much similar to that type of noodles that one finds in chicken noodle soup. So I bought this noodle, and I decided I'm going to give it a try. And fortunately, because now I have a template for boiling noodles. In fact, the best way to boil noodles is in a wok. My 14-inch stainless steel wok is the perfect for this purpose. The wok has a large opening, so it is easy for you to manipulate the noodles. And furthermore, the water do not boil over. And so I can boil the entire package of noodles, which is about 1 pound. And this makes it easy. Now, it turned out that noodles actually are really quite good as a shelf life in terms of storing in the refrigerator. You can store noodles usually up to about maybe 10 days. So you will always have noodles available to you. Now, boiling noodles basically is the same for all different kinds of noodles. The major difference is the timing. Some noodles require longer time to boil. The thicker the noodle, the more time that it takes. Now, usually the package provides some instructions, but I normally do not. I just boil it until it reaches the texture that I want. Most time when I boil noodles, I try to boil it to a texture of al dente, because a lot of time I will cook this noodle again, and so keep it a bit firm actually is a good idea. This noodle is very easy to boil, even though it is very thick. It took about maybe 6 to 7 minutes. Now, when you boil noodles, the best thing to do is that to use a pair of tongs. So this way you can mix up the noodles. I try to mix it all the time, because if you don't, the noodle settle at the bottom of the wok is going to get burned, as like you would in any sort of a spaghetti pasta pot. Once the noodle reaches the texture that I want, I plunge them into a bowl of cold water. I'm very lucky that I pick up this huge colander, which works really nice, because it will allow me to have plenty of cold water. This will stop the noodle from cooking almost immediately. It worked really well. I use these noodles and to cook a stir-fry noodle dish, or perhaps you can call it a pan-fried noodle dish. And this is a type of noodle dish that's very popular when I was growing up in Hong Kong. And this kind of noodles, sometimes they use rice noodles. And the burnt part of the noodles is really make the noodles taste good. And the traditional wok chi is because of this burnt noodles. Now, I'm going to cook these noodles in my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok. Now, I really like this wok because it has a large flat bottom surface. So this way you can lay out the noodles and you can let the noodles to char. And this provides a very convenient way. Now, this wok has to be seasoned. I use my spot seasoning method to create a non-stick cook surface. Now, noodles is notorious for burning and stick to the bottom of the wok. In order to avoid that, the best way to do it is just like when you cook fried rice. Store the noodles in the refrigerator after you cook them and keep them there for about 24 to 40 hours. Actually, the longer is better. This will dry out the noodles. And once they dry out, they will not stick and burn. And you can see, and it works really, really well. Now, again, this is a basic template for frying noodles. In fact, you can use this template to fry any kinds of noodles you want, including spaghetti pasta noodles, angel hair noodles. But different types of noodles fry differently and have different flavor. And of all the noodles that I have fried, this is probably right on the top. I really like this. At this point, I use my wok spatula just to check. If any noodles stick to the bottom and burn, the wok spatula used as a scraper that will allow me to scrape off the noodles that has burned on the surface of the wok. So a stainless steel wok spatula is really handy. Now, I love this particular wok spatula because it is very sturdy. Okay, looks like nothing stick, everything doing very well. I use my tongue to toss the noodles. Now here is a little trick. If you want your noodles to burn and to char, and then use only a small amount of oil, but you have to agitate it constantly because otherwise it's going to burn. And in this case, it will actually create a burn flavor that you might not like. The trick is that to use just the right amount of oil, not too much, not too little. Too much oil, it will not char properly. Too little, it will burn too much. So this is kind of balance, and this is one thing great about stir frying because you can always make changes. Next, I'm going to season the noodles with my wok with tak basic seasoning mix. This will create a nice flavor for the noodles. And in this case, you can eat the noodles standalone just the way as it is. It actually makes a really great snack. And then I put some chopped scallions over it. The chopped scallion give the noodle a nice onion flavor. And together, they actually make the noodles taste really good. In fact, you don't need anything. You can just eat it the way as it is. But of course, most of the time you don't. You cook the noodles as a supplement, as a source of carbohydrate to a meal that you will include other food ingredients. Now, in this particular case, after I cook the noodles, I set it aside. And because of this noodles, I'm going to cook another dish. Now, this is usually the case how I cook my noodles. I very rarely just eat the noodle by itself. I always cook something else to go over the noodles. Now, for this particular dish, the best way is to set the noodles aside, and then you put whatever food ingredients that you cook on top of it. Now, in this case, I cook a vegetable medley dish. This vegetable medley dish includes Brussels sprouts, broccoli, carrots, yellow squash, and I also cook some shrimp to go with it. Now, the nice thing about using this approach is that you can keep the crispiness of the noodles, so that if you cook the noodles together with the other vegetable ingredients, then the noodles will be softened. Then you will not have this nice crispy charring texture. I also cook some shrimp together with the vegetables. So you can see here, the noodles provide the source of carbohydrate, but it also maintains its distinct characteristics. It has its own flavor because I flavored it with the wok with tak basic seasoning mix, as well as with scallion. Most importantly is that it will maintain that crispy charring texture. So it will give the noodles a distinct flavor from the vegetable dish. So consequently, you have the contrast between the two dishes. And this is referred to as combinatory stir frying. Means that you cook the ingredients separately and then you combine them together. This is the best way to create interesting flavor in a dish. And quite often, the most interesting aspect when you stir fry a dish, or any type of dish, is to maintain the distinct flavor of the individual ingredients. So last but not the least, I garnish the dish with some fresh bell pepper. Again, I do not cook the bell pepper because I love the distinct flavor of the bell pepper. When you don't cook the pepper, they remain that crispy texture, which I really enjoy. Now, I post a video each day because I want to show you it is possible to cook every day. Now, I cook this dish in less than actually about 15 minutes from start to finish. And this provides me with a really nice meal. So the fast cooking system will allow you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine, and you will find your cooking is interesting, creative, fun, and enjoyable. So if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.